Good morning and welcome back to Washington, D.C. I'm Joyce Taylor. So great to have you joining us for our special coverage from our nation's capital on the eve of the inauguration of our 45th president. So I'm joined now by one of the some 200,000 people who are expected to be here in Washington to attend the Women's March on Washington on Saturday. This is Flory. She's from Washington. She is one of the executives of Solid Ground, I should say grants manager.
Yes.
One of the people who raises a lot of money for one of our great charities, foundations back at home. You are going to be here to participate in the Women's March on Washington. Really important to you.
Yes,
Why?
I am. I have a long history of strong women in my family, and I am proud to be one of them. And I think it's really important to come and exercise my rights and make sure that other women have equal rights. So.
Some people would say, even the chairman of the GOP in Washington has said that she's never seen anything like this, that Democrats just seem to be in denial about accepting this president, and that suggesting that they just can't get over it.
Yeah, it's been a pretty hard trauma for, I think, a lot of people across the country, simply because he said some things that are pretty anti-feminist, and I think a lot of us are trying to recover from that. It harkens back to growing up and hearing a lot of things on the streets, or being assaulted, and even worse, domestic violence is such an issue. So I think for me, it just triggers a lot of people's emotions. And to have someone in such a position who said pretty terrible things about and doing to women, I think it's really hard for any of us to accept it. So we're all still trying to deal with that trauma of accepting that someone in the White House is going to be who said those things, and also trying to use our energies to come together to make sure that rights aren't rolled back.
It's also personal for you, because when you say you come from a long line of strong women, your family has personal connections literally to the White House.
Yeah. So my mother and her sister and 3 brothers were Army brats. My grandfather was a captain in the Army, and because of that, a lot of my cousins went to military academy. And because of that, my godmother and cousin is a JAG lawyer in the Navy, and I also have a cousin who is a deputy director working with Michelle Obama. So
she's now out of work?
Yeah. So
and that came as a total shock to her, didn't it?
Yeah, I think that D.C. and the country was just rocked by the election. I know I was really surprised, and it's unfortunate that it was a wake-up call to a lot of white people that, yes, America is still this racist, and America is still this polarized.
Not just white people. Don't you think it was a wake-up call to a lot of people? To everybody?
I think that a lot of people of color deal with the racism on a daily basis, and I think they've seen the ugliness of America.
But you were surprised by that.
But I thought we had come farther, and I just kept saying, I'm sorry to my friends. And my friend said, you know what, it's time for white people to do some work. And because I said I was so afraid for my friends. A lot of my friends are people of color, queer people, gender non-conforming people. So for me, it's personal, and it's also making sure that there's safety there. But I've said this analogy before, it's easier to take the bullets out of the gun than to put on a bulletproof vest. So white people need to do some work to make sure that we don't have this kind of polarizing, hateful rhetoric present in our communities.
Well, we're out of time, but I'm going to do another interview with you after. We're going to put it on Facebook Live, so we're going to continue our conversation.
Great.
I know that President-elect Trump has talked a lot about trying to bring the country together. I think that's going to be a major theme of his speech tomorrow, his inaugural address, which he's writing himself. We're going to see what he says about trying to bring this country together, and how that's going to be received tomorrow.
Yes.
Participating in the Women's March, along with 200,000 others, many people from Washington State. We're going to hear more from some of them in our next hour. Flory, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you sharing with us on a really personal level. And again, we're going to continue that conversation. Back to you.